Welcome to the Daily Gospel of John. It's good to be meeting with you, doing this, and I'm going to try to make this brief. There's some raindrops falling here and there, and there's a big umbrella over the camera, but not over me. So I'm going to dive in and look at verses 29 and 30 of John 6. Jesus answered, "The work of God is this, to believe in the one he has sent." So they asked him, "What miraculous sign then will you give that we may see it and believe you? What will you do?" Good grief. These people had followed him to the other side of the Sea of Galilee because they had witnessed him feeding this multitude of 5,000 men plus women and children with 5 small loaves and 2 little fishes. They had followed him to that remote place where he fed them because they had seen him healing the multitudes of their sicknesses. And in Matthew's account, when they arrived on the other side of the sea, it records this: "And when the men of that place recognized Jesus, they sent word to all the surrounding country. People brought all their sick to him and begged him to let the sick just touch the edge of his cloak, and all who touched him were healed." So, what the heck? These people have seen a lot of miracles already, but they're wanting to see more. And Jesus had made clear many times in the Gospels that the real reason he was doing the miracles was to establish the credibility, his credibility as the Son of God, as Messiah, so that people would hear what he had to say. God's more interested in expressing his heart of love to us and his message of life and how to reconnect with him than he is with filling our bellies or with wowing us with miracles. I firmly believe the God who created this universe, if he wanted, this very day could stand and show himself 10 miles high in the sky with blazing lights flashing around him and do a big speech. But he's not interested in wowing us with his power. He would bowl over our human free will if he showed himself in that way. Yes, everybody would bow and say, "Oh, great God, we love you," but they would do it because they're afraid of what would happen if they didn't. But God, the God who is more interested in expressing his heart. And how many miracles do these people need to see? But you know what? We can be very much like that. In that, I think I've spoken with so many people about their faith because it's vitally important to me, and I see them as eternal souls as I do you, and so valuable, eternally valuable. And here's the deal: I found so many people that have intellectual barriers and roadblocks in their minds. They've settled on certain presuppositions in their understanding that negates the concept of God, and yet when I challenge those roadblocks with reason and give sufficient answers, or defend the credibility of the Bible with facts, and would answer the objections, still it's a big no, like, I don't want to hear it. And sometimes people will even stop you short of giving answers because they don't want you to convince them to the point where they'd feel guilty saying no. And while we as humans often, I think, pride ourselves in being honest seekers of the truth, do we really want the truth? Do we want the truth if it means accepting the reality that there is a real God? Not just some force. See, a force we can kind of deal with on our own terms. Somewhat of a God of our own making. Well, that God doesn't require anything more of us than what we let him require of us. But if there is really a God who's a real being, who's a lover with personality and soul, and with standards to whom we are accountable, well, that's a little different. That means that to accept the teachings of Jesus meant to submit their hearts to the God who created them. And it's the most glorious thing. It's freedom, but for many it appears as death. It seems imprisonment. In other words, I'm going to get off the throne of my heart, king me, and let this God be in charge? Heck no. So, yeah, I would need to see more miracles before I'm going to believe that nonsense, okay? I need to see more miracles than the ones I just saw because I'm really not convinced yet. I need a little more fact. I need a little more proof, okay? Because you just haven't convinced me enough when really the problem's here. But reason with me for a second. Do you really want to be in charge? Where's it gotten you so far? Is it really such a good deal? I mean, I'm pretty old. I've figured that I don't like being in charge because I've concluded I'm my own worst enemy. Big old me. And the more that my universe revolves around me, the smaller my universe becomes. To the degree that I focus on the maker of the stars and get to know him, I'm lost in his bigness, and I love it. I feel like somebody standing on the edge of the Grand Canyon or listening to the roar of Niagara Falls. I'm not diminished. I'm loving my smallness next to that bigness. I feel a part of something so much bigger than I, and I didn't have to make it happen. I'm just invited up into it. It's the best thing ever. It's getting to know the God who is. And he's not just big and powerful and smart, but he's a lover, and he communicated himself through Messiah Jesus so we would know his heart, and his heart is good. Well, God bless. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.